Woke up today, smile on my face, may not go my way, still got my
All right, so
I'll be
super excited
okay.
today. I have my good friend, somebody I've gotten to know on a very deep level, and we'll kind of share with you how we met and the journey. But my good friend Joey Spencer, professional boxer, father, husband, disciple. Man, you've got a lot going on, brother, and I'm super excited to jump in today because, as we said earlier, like we've had so many conversations, and I feel like often they're a little bit more surface level, but now that we've gotten to know each other on a deeper level, we can kind of go into these depths that we haven't explored before, but really sharing with people the highs, the lows, the things that go on in a professional boxer's mind, because I think so often we look at an athlete or a professional athlete especially, right, and we just think, oh, they got it made, and we don't realize that they face a lot of the same challenges we do. In business would be, I think, a good comparison, right? Boxing is a business,
100%.
Professional sports is a business,
100%.
Business is business, and then family and life
Absolutely.
and everything that goes on. So welcome, brother.
Hey, thank you, buddy.
Super excited to have you, man.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited. And we've talked a lot off camera and gotten close. And I always appreciate our conversations. And you're someone that I know I can talk to.
Yeah.
And that even early on, we did a little podcast like this really
in
early
this
on.
room.
Really early on, yeah. Like pretty early in my career and, early on when you had started sponsoring me. And I remember going back and telling my wife and family, like, that was one of the best interviews I had ever done. Like, I knew that from the beginning. And just because you're a like-minded person, I feel like you're somebody that I can look up to and relate to even in a lot of ways, because I feel like you meet me where I'm at, and so I really appreciate that, and I appreciate, before we even get started, our relationship.
Yeah, and the relationship's much deeper than the sponsorship. And I think
that's the thing, and it went. I knew that early on, even before it progressed, it had the potential to do that because of the things that I just said.
Honestly, after it's a little bit emotional, but after our last conversation, right, when you came over to the house, this was after the Tim Tszyu fight, battling through all of that, the loss and etc. Like, when you left that day, I felt like I now know who Joey as a human being is. Like, not just Joey Spencer, not the boxer, not even just Joey, my buddy, but you really revealed a lot and a lot of the challenges that you were facing in that time. So we're going to have some fun today. I'm sure we'll have some laughs. We might have some tears, who knows, but I just want to take people behind the scenes. And so, tell us first of all, like, you're a professional boxer. You're a professional athlete. You've got a record of
19-2.
19-2. Talk about the two.
Yeah, the two, man. It's
those
funny,
damn two.
those two, because when I get, people who don't know me or people in this area who meet me, and sometimes people will ask, hey, what's your record now? And I'll say 19-2, and they'll be like, that's an amazing record. That's a great record to have, and they'll be impressed by that. And to your point, that dang two, those two have been the most significant part of my journey, as a professional. There's been,
I would say, as a human being.
As a human
also.
being, yeah. I mean, it's really important. It's something that I learned after my last one. And when you do take those losses, it's important to remind yourself that you're more than what you do. Ooh. You know what I mean? And that's something that, through the wins, when you're winning and when you want more and when you're trying to reach the ultimate goal that you have, which is never going to ever necessarily be finished, and when you're a competitor and when you're, whether it's in life, business, sport, whatever you're doing, whatever your thing is, a driven person, those goals are never going to be accomplished. So when you're on,
because you always want more.
You always want to test yourself more. You always want to push yourself more. That's a gift and a curse. I'm extremely driven, passionate about what I do. Boxing has been the love of my life, my first love.
You started boxing at what age?
Yeah, I started boxing. I mean, my little girl is 3, and I'm teaching her how to box right now. And I was learning how to box when I was her age. You know what I mean? I mean, as soon as I could walk, I was throwing punches. But it was more than that. As soon as from that time on, that was what my deepest passion and thought. That's what drove my thoughts even at that young age. Whether it be the movies that my dad and I watched together, everything
Had to be some Rocky.
it had to be rock. Oh yeah, of course. Favorite.
I honestly feel like Rocky was such a pivotal movie for me. Like just, 1 and 2 specifically, but that like at that time of my life and the things that I went through in my childhood, like that really helped me,
100%.
which is, it's still my favorite movie to this day.
And it's mine. I wouldn't say any different. People who are non-boxers think it might just be a motivational film because obviously it relates to everybody. Sure. But what I love about those movies is it actually Sylvester Stallone, wrote those, and he really captured the life of a fighter and
the depths,
the highs, the lows, what a fighter feels, and people don't realize how much it's not just a movie that is good to watch, but not really probably that accurate for a professional boxer. He really did justice to the fighters that came before, and that it was based on, like he based that on real fighters. And so the fight parts of the movie, it's not like the technique is good, but the life part, the inside part, he captured it like to a T. So it's that movie resonated a lot. But going back to what the question was.
Well, this is right. Going back to the 2 and the emotion and the life, and
100%.
Because it's easy to see the wins, it's easy to see the limelight, but what goes on after? And that's why I go to the 2 because from what I believe I know about you, the most growth has been in the 2.
100%.
Yeah.
The first one, when I lost, my 2 fights that I've lost, one was against Ramos, who was in the top. That was the top 10. He was ranked number 5 in the world. And since then he's been on a tear. He'll be fighting for the title soon. Within his next couple fights, he'll be fighting for the world title, and then. So
that's got to feel good, though, right? I mean,
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not like we go back to. It's not enough. It's not what I want.
Right.
But the 2 that I've lost were at the highest, level of professional boxing. They were me chasing down my ultimate goal, which is the world title. I've come close. My last one was a title eliminator for the world championship. My opponent went on to fight for the world championship. He was the former champ. The former world champ. He went on to fight the person who took his belt, and he ended up losing again.
Did he really?
So it was interesting because then afterward, someone like Tim Tszyu, who I spent, it felt like 500 hours, watching and learning. It almost felt like I knew him so well by the time I got in the ring with him. And then seeing him get in and then taking that loss and then him saying a lot of the things, openly that I was feeling when I lost to him. Yeah. It's just a roller coaster of a sport. And but anyway, those were 2 big ones. And the first one, when I lost to Jesus Ramos, that was one of the biggest growth periods that I'd ever been through, and I was 100 times better as a human after that one. The 3 that were in between, the 3 wins that I got in between that fight, I just, the growth started right there, and accelerated so much. That was so it would have been my 17th fight. Yeah, my 17th fight when I fought Ramos. I felt like I grew as much or more in those 3 fights because of that starting point of the loss as I had the 17 before that, as a human. And that's what I do love about boxing. And when I get done with those fights, you feel like the losses, it affects you on such a deep level because boxing is a primal sport.
Oh, for sure. It's one-on-one, man.
It's one-on-one. Yeah. The sport, it was built to be regulated as a sport, but hundreds of years ago, the way it started was, you were fighting for money and on the street with no gloves on, and they put ropes up to do the ring, and it progressed from there. So even though there's more regulation and rules now, it still has that primal aspect. So when you lose a fight, it's a lot more than just losing a sporting event. It's you lose a part. You get broken down to the furthest point, especially in those tough losses, you really feel broken down and you have to build yourself back up. And I think that's where I'm at now, even though I'm coming off of the second. I remember the same thing happened after the Ramos fight. You feel like a stronger individual afterward because
after you get through the recovery,
I'm like, I'm harder now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm stronger and I'm proud of myself.
Which loss hurt
I'd say the Tszyu fight hurt more because of the preparation that I had, and the Ramos fight. I really didn't have a good preparation. I had a lot of physical issues, and not that I didn't have physical issues in the Tszyu fight too, but you always kind of expect to have physical
you've got
issues.
something going on.
You always got something going on. In the Ramos fight, it was just, I mean, I wasn't able to train a lot for the last month. Whereas in the Tszyu fight, I mean, even though I had my small issues, the preparation was beautiful.
You felt,
know,
I mean, 'cause I remember
I felt mentally unstoppable. I felt great.
We talked about this. You're like the best I've ever felt, and I think it exposed itself also in your interviews and stuff, because you had this. And you are a very humble person, and yet we enter this arena where there's boasting going on, there's intimidation tactics going on. Like, you have to display all of those things.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
At Joey's core, he's a very humble person, very good person. But I saw a different person. Like, I don't bet on boxing. I opened a damn account and bet, like, because I'm like, I see a different Joey. And then when we had the conversation afterwards, you kind of echoed, like, yeah, I went into this thing knowing I was going to win, but then something happened the night before. What was it?
Yeah, the night before, so the way I explained it to you before, and the way it was, is I didn't, in the weeks and months leading up to it, I prepared for 3 months, basically turned my life upside down. You go into a full, like, training camp mode where, you know, I'm with my family very little. Everything is centered around this person, and I never felt like I could even convince myself that I was going to lose that fight, even if I tried to think positively. My sparring performances, you know, in boxing, the sparring is a fight. You know, you're trying to take the other person's head off, and you're bringing in professional fighters to spar you, and I mean, I was beautiful. It was beautiful performances in the camp. I mean, best boxing I'd ever done. You know, remember one time I was sparring, and I had 3 opponents over an 11-round period, half the rest time than you have in the fight. And at one point, the whole room just started, like, basically applauding. Like, and these are people that you're bringing in that are rivals, that are in the same weight class or whatever, and they were just like, this is unbelievable. And they were like, there's no way you lose this fight, you know. And that's how I felt. Yeah. And then the night before, you know, this is kind of what people don't see, is I just had about
going on in your head,
this thing that's going on your head, like, man, what if it was all a lie? What if it's not? What if you're not as good as you thought you are? You know, what if it was all for nothing? What if the main thing is I remembered how I felt after the Ramos fight, that brokenness after the loss. And I had I'd say a full-on anxiety attack, you know, the night before. I called my dad to the room. I'm like, look, like, you know, I'm not feeling good here, you know. And the reality of it is I feared the following night would I feel the way I did after the Ramos fight, you know, and knowing how horrible of a feeling that is, you know, and being like, man, what if tomorrow night I feel that way? And it caused me to basically
have doubt,
but it took away my performance. It took away my ability to perform. It took away my ability to focus. The fear caused my fear to come true.
And I want people to understand, it's not a fear of getting beat up.
No.
It's a fear of the feeling.
It's a fear of the feeling of failure.
Yeah.
It's the feeling of the feeling of failure, the feeling of humiliation. Yeah. You know, boxing, when you lose or when you lose bad,
you're on the world stage and it's just you.
Yeah, and you feel humiliated. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was something actually I feel like you've done, and I always appreciated, is you've always been like an advocate for me. You advocate for me. You know what I mean? Like, after the fight, like, you and your team. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I saw a lot from you and your team putting out there, just standing with me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that is, and you know what? The community.
Because you feel like people are going to abandon you.
For sure. And and after the Ramos fight, I remember feeling the same way. I got home from the Ramos fight, you know, got home. I needed some groceries. I got in late and went to Walmart. It was like right before closing. One of the Walmart workers came up, put his hand on my shoulder and was like, "You doing all right, buddy?" You know, and just asked me how I was doing. And that was like, you think like, man, like, nobody really cares about you. You know, nobody. And a lot of times that's true. A lot of times it's people are with you when you win, and they're not with you when you lose. And a lot of people's fans are that way. But like,
A lot of life is that way.
A lot of life is that way. What's been sidetracking here a little bit, but through the two, what I've realized so much is that I owe this community a lot. Because this community is not like that. I haven't had anybody leave me. It's almost gotten, the support's gotten stronger through the losses.
I want to give you this, though. I think that a lot of that is because of who you are as a person.
I appreciate it.
Right? It's not just because it's a fight. It's because they're truly behind who Joey Spencer is.
They're with me. I feel it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that is like huge.
So let's pivot this just a minute, because I think there's two things that come to my mind. We kind of led this with like your identity being in the wins and losses, and this is why it can't be, right? Because you're gonna experience those wins and losses, but also you talked about the darkness of the loss, and so talk to us about like this last loss in particular, because when you and I said the fight's over, everybody else just goes about life, right? And then you're left to kind of pick up the pieces and try to put them all together, and that was a moment that you shared with me that you were. I mean, I'll let you share it, but options, like, am I ever going to fight again? What does all of that look like?
Yeah, just completely, transparent. I got done with the fight, went radio silent for a couple days. Just being honest here, I drank, whiskey the whole time.
Was it good whiskey at least?
No. I had
cheap shit.
I had someone grab me a bottle of Jack Daniels, a big one, and that was it. I drank the whole time. I'm a born again Christian, so people who I wasn't relying on. I was so broken down. I just needed to numb myself, So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I was so depressed, and I was like, so that's how I handled it at that time. And a couple days later, because we stayed in Australia for about a week, my dad came. We talked for the first time. He just kind of gave me my space. We talked for the first time. I told him, I've thought a lot about this, but I'm not fighting anymore. I had figured out, what I thought that I was gonna
How
hopefully
did he
do.
respond to that when you shared that?
He's always like, look, man, this is a dangerous sport, and if you want that, then that's what you do. But he also was like, I believe you can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I believe you can do this, and I don't believe it's over for you. You know what I mean? But whatever you choose to do, that's your choice, and I'm with you.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So he would never push me to stay in it, because fighting is,
you got to be all in.
You got to be all in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I quickly realized that if I stopped at that point, before I even went home, within the week that we were gonna leave, I realized that if I don't pick myself back up and try and keep going, keep fighting, I was gonna feel like that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's one thing when you're down in a pit. It's like you can either keep going and hope to feel a different way someday, and be proud of yourself, accomplish your goals, or you can stay that way, and you've got no chance of ever feeling any different. You can quit and you never feel any different.
Yeah, and
right?
this is the beauty of the parallels of life and business and sports. It's like you got to get back up. You got to keep going. You got to get back in the ring.
100%.
No pun intended, but you got to get back in the ring, man.
100%.
The ring of life.
That's why they say boxing is a metaphor for life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, and that's so the journey of it, right? When we talked, I was still in that at that point. After the fight. You feel, if it wasn't for my family, at the end of that, I wanted to be done. I wanted to be gone off this earth. That's how I felt after the fight. And that sounds ridiculous to people who have been through real things. And it's true. Right. But that's how you feel after you get beat up in the ring. You feel like it's such a humiliation. But something that I realized is that through it, what turned me to the other side was that was my relationship with God. Yeah. Because I realized that if that is making me feel that way, then that means I've probably put way too much of myself
in it.
Myself and my identity into that. Yeah. And then when I realized that, and I started looking around at what I've got and who I've got, then I realized that that's not where my identity's at. I'm a first and foremost, I'm a child of God. And that's the first thing. And then I'm a father to my little kids and a husband to my wife, and
that's such a delicate balance though, right? I mean,
For sure.
trying to stay level-headed while pursuing a mission of beating people up, essentially, which takes, I mean, you have to emotionally prepare yourself that I am better, right? Which is the opposite of what.
So when you come down, it's like you have to reset yourself, because to go into it, it's really hard to have that, that moderate mindset.
Well,
you have to get yourself to a
that.
point where you're like, you're ready to kill or be
someone.
killed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to go to that mindset, because
Well, I think what people don't realize is boxers accept the fact that when I enter the ring, it literally could be
the
kill
last
or be
time,
killed.
100%. And there's been, 3 or 4 headlines that I've seen since the fight. This guy passed, this guy passed, this guy passed. It's just a regular, every day someone up in the top 10 or below ends up passing away. It feels like every day, you see it on there, and it's not every day, but it's a lot. So when you go in there, you have to prepare yourself, and it's hard to have a moderate mindset, so when you do lose and you do get out of the ring, you have to readjust yourself. You have to readjust yourself to the.
Is that something you now can kind of learn? So
I'm
that
trying.
in the future. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm reading.
Not that you're ever going to lose again, because
No.
we know that's not happening.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit, because he's
100%.
got a fight coming up.
100%.
He's cutting weight. A lot of cool things happening there. But
Absolutely.
I just think this is a really interesting piece, right? Because, again, people, it's like the billboards, right? People see someone on a billboard, overnight success, or they see a professional athlete and they say, they get paid way too much. They don't see all of the other things that go on, in the dark moments.
100%.
Well, not even dark moments, but family, life, personal. I mean, all of these things that happen outside of the 40 minutes that you watch somebody perform on a Sunday.
100%. And speaking, it's all intertwined. My wife, she watches me go into the ring, and we've talked about before, her children's life hangs in the balance, or what very different. Her children's life will change depending on what happens, what my performance is like in the ring.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's interesting. But she's on, and she loves me, and she has to see me go in there and fight.
She's Adrian.
Yeah,
watching the fight.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's like huge, and she doesn't have any control. I think I'd rather be in my position
heck
where at least I've got control.
Heck yeah.
At least I've got some form of control. You don't have complete control, but it's interesting. But I'm speaking to that. I'm reading a book called Extreme Balance right now, and it's felt like it was like God sent, because it's about the parallel mindsets, that you think that you have to always choose one or the other when they're opposite.
Right.
But in reality, you're trying to mix them.
Yeah.
Especially in life, and it talks about life, but it's actually written by someone who was a MMA champion and a NCAA champion wrestler, and how the way to achieve optimal performance is to blend the parallel mindsets. So that's been big. I've been reading through that, and it's been and so it talks about so a couple mindsets would be, I'm 100% all in on this goal. It's who I am. It's what I live. It's what I breathe. And then the other side is, it's not who I am. It's just what I do. It doesn't mean that much. When I get through this, even if I lose, everything's going to go back to normal. I've got my family. If you've got that mindset on the right side all the time, it might cause you to prepare less. But if you've got this side all the time, then when you do face defeats, it might be hard to get back up, right? So you've got to blend those two minds. So it's that balance, right? And that's why it's called extreme balance.
It's kind of funny when people say work-life balance, right?
Yep.
Because to me, like, a balance means 50%. There's no such thing.
You can't have it,
and I understand this concept. That's what I say. Like, I can finish the book for you. It doesn't exist. Throw
That's
the
right.
fucking book out.
100%.
But obviously, there's good stuff in
It's
that
blending.
book. Yes, it's how do you live a life that blends the two. Because ultimately,
you have to have both at the same time.
Yes.
Instead of this here or all the way over here, you have to be able to blend ways of thinking, and that's what it's been really good. I
one
need
of those
that you have to
important
do.
things is having that conversation with your loved one also, or your loved ones, and saying this is the journey that we're going on, so that we can all be in that blend of
Exactly.
it, right?
And that's what it is.
Yeah, it's so huge. In business, you hear that all the time, like, da 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 da. don't mix business with pleasure. Well, I want to make my business a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And be able to blend the duality of not being totally extreme one way or the other.
100%.
Escanaba, I didn't tell you this, but your fight's in Escanaba. My uncle did a movie. It's called Escanaba in the Moonlight, so you should probably watch it before you go kick somebody's butt in Escanaba. So tell us about the fight coming up. I believe this podcast is actually going to drop the day before.
Have we not talked about Escanaba in the Moonlight? Have we not talked about that? Because
You know
somebody said, is it a hunting? It's got some hunting
Well,
involved?
kind of, yeah.
Involved.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Somebody just told me when I told him that I was fighting Escanaba, said you got to watch Escanaba in the Moonlight. Somebody just said
Jeff
that to me.
Daniels did that film with my uncle, Dr. Straley.
Okay.
He was an investor in the
That's
movie.
so
My
funny.
family's in the movie, actually.
That is hilarious because
Yeah.
I have been since I announced the fight, I've been recommended to watch that before
That's
I went.
wild.
So
That's
I had
wild.
no idea that
I've seen it one
your
time
family
in
was
the
involved.
theater 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago.
I got to watch it.
Yeah, it's a funny show.
Okay.
And yes, it's about hunters in the UP and all of the.
That's awesome. That's
cool.
awesome.
Tell us about the fight. So
Yeah.
who you're fighting. Also, you're dropping in weight class, and this is I believe you're dropping halfway in this fight in preparation for the future. So definitely not done. On a mission still with this idea of cutting weight, because we talked about this way back after the Ramos defeat that you were unsure if that was the weight that you were going to stay at. Obviously, after the Tim Tszyu fight, you guys have made a decision to come down in weight.
Yeah. When I got done with the Tszyu fight, I had said that I was thinking about hanging it up. That didn't last very long.
Let me ask you this before you go there, because
Yeah.
I want to talk about Tim Tszyu real quick, right? Because I found that very interesting, because this is the first time that Joey Spencer was like, I'm going to kick your butt, right? Like the first time that you were very vocal and really, you know, and I found that very interesting. And so I was either thinking like, oh man, he knows he's going to win, or he's afraid. And so he's talking, because that's normally what people do. But I saw this different energy in you. But going back to Tim, because there's a lot of controversy about, who's going to referee the fight, and we don't need to get into all of that. But I want to ask this question. So you formed an opinion of Tim through this, because that's what happens. But then he goes on and loses. And so now can you almost relate back to him more?
So they, the promotion was something that I hadn't dealt with before. I went into enemy territory. I knew that was going to be the case.
In Australia, by the way.
In Australia, their promotion, Tim's promotion. I don't know. I don't know if he's like an owner in it or anything, but his home promotion, no different than when I come back to Michigan and I fight under my promotion, right? And so that was the case with this situation. And so I knew that I would be in enemy territory when it came to the fans. I didn't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I was actually excited about that part.
Yeah,
it's exciting,
Yeah.
And but what I didn't expect is all the gamesmanship from the promotional team. They wanted to sell this fight, and to do it, they were going to create controversy. So they were trying to. I went to Australia, and speaking to what you were saying about the way that I was presenting myself, because it came from a real place of confidence and also a mixture of humility, and Tim's been called arrogant by his own people quite a bit, like his arrogance, I don't really necessarily agree with it too much. I think he's a confident competitor, and what we've talked about, where you have to get yourself to go in and fight.
That,
right. You got to fake it till you make it. Sometimes it's not even real. So anyway, I never necessarily agreed with it, but I was getting a lot of fan support in Australia over the month that I was there. I mean, they were, loving me. The Australian people were loving me. Online, the majority of the people were picking me to win the fight against Tim, rooting for me to win the fight against Tim. The Australian people. I think that kind of.
Do you wish that you didn't even know any of this shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's so hard because you go in there thinking I'm not going to pay any mind to it, but you're so entrenched in it.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible not to.
You'd have to be locked in a damn room.
You'd have to be locked in a room.
Yeah.
You're in it. It's like, they do so much press there. And even I wasn't paying attention to a lot, but the reporters are all their reporters.
Yeah.
So they're reminding me, they're telling me, in the way they ask their questions, they're, getting our blood boiling and trying to create controversy.
Yeah, they're hyping it all
Before we went into the face-off, the promoter, the way it started, our first face-to-face was, across the table, and that was the first promotional thing they did. And the promoter reached out to my dad and said, we want controversy, so talk trash. And my dad so they're trying to make me the villain.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the fans are loving me. So they want to, I'm like, look, man. So my response was, that's not going to happen. I don't fabricate anything. You're not, I don't fake things. So
if you want it, then make
if
me
you
mad.
want it, make, I literally said, if you want it, then he can stir it up.
Right.
I'm not stirring it up.
Right.
So obviously he didn't want to come across as a douche. So what they do is they start to create this drama with the judging and with the who was going to judge the fight, which was agreed upon, forever ago that it was going to be neutral judges. So they create a drama with the fact that there's not going to be neutral. It's all Australian judges. So of course it puts us in a position where we kind of have to fight back. But then they kept Tim in the dark about it all, and they started telling Tim.
Well, that's when you said your camp's lying to you.
Yeah.
I found that really wild when you're looking at the dude going, your people are lying to you.
Yeah. So he
had
didn't,
been like,
he didn't know anything. I know everything because I'm involved in it every day. And that's just the way. My dad's not going to hide any. Like, if there's business going on, then we're going to talk about it, So they're lying to Tim, but the way that they did it was to create controversy. So they wanted Tim to get upset. They wanted to tell him, Joey Spencer's about to get on a plane and go home, be totally over these judges. When the first conversation about judging came up, my dad sent an email to his team and said, whether it's just so you guys know, and it was all really like, there was no drama between us and the promotional team.
Matter of fact.
Very matter of fact. Look, we agreed on this. We had a deal. We had an agreement. We'd really appreciate it if you guys brought in the neutral judging that was agreed upon beforehand. But to be clear, so that there's no mix-ups, we are fighting. Whether Joey specifically told me to tell you guys, he's here to fight.
See, if I was like Sean Ryan, I'd have that email right now. I'd pull that shit off.
Yeah, no, we had it, and so the next thing, if they kept talking at all, we were gonna release the email because we had it, and we when I said that, but they told Tim none of that. They just said he's about to pull out, but it worked perfect because that's what created that drama at the weigh-in. Because the first time I got off my game was when he said that I was gonna jump on a plane and head home. That affected my pride because one thing that I've never pulled out of a fight. I've been in fights injured, sick, all kinds of issues. I've never pulled out a fight. It would take me being in a hospital bed to pull out of a fight because it's just something that I believe in. And this is how I feed my family. I'm not going home. Right. You know what I mean? So that really bothered me. And then that created that. So everything that they did, they wanted him to believe that so that he would get upset so that it would create real drama. And that's what it did. So it was kind of like fair play on their part, because it did create drama and it did create a buzz.
Let's jump to Escanaba.
Yeah.
September 4th?
6th.
Yep. 6. In Escanaba. Yep. Tell us about the fight, who you're fighting, who's on the undercard, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm fighting a guy named Howard. His last name's Howard. I'm fighting at 151. One of the things after the Tszyu fight, when I got myself back up about a week later, started training hard.
Didn't you start training like in the airport?
Yeah. We were in the airport for 36 hours because our flights were all messed up. So I started trained. I did a lot actually in the airport. I would find a corner somewhere, create little workouts and push-ups and shadow boxing, and started thinking about the fight and what I needed to work on and things like that. And I just made it. I was like, I'm not stopping.
Do you go back and watch the film and look for those things?
I've watched the film a little bit, and I will. I haven't watched the fight fully yet, but I have watched the fight. But I've watched the finish. Right. I've watched the last round quite a few times, but not the full fight.
Yeah. I keep interrupting you, and I hate to do that. But
not at all.
I keep
There's a lot of important stuff.
Things, right? Yeah. Like, your dad threw in the towel twice.
Yes.
His 2 losses were trainer, which is his father, throwing in the towel.
Yes.
I that's interesting to me, right? Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's big right there. The Ramos fight.
That's the only fight I didn't see because I couldn't find it anywhere. I was out of town. I couldn't find it anywhere.
The Ramos fight?
Yeah. I never saw it.
Yeah, I didn't disagree with it in the Ramos fight. I'd given it everything I had, and it didn't look like I was going to be able to get a knockout, so I was losing on the scorecards. At that point, being young, trying to preserve my health, one fight can be the last fight if you don't,
And what I heard about that fight was even though he was winning and fair to say dominating, because you got knocked down early.
I got knocked down early.
Game, you almost went into like, I'm just
crazy
you're
mode.
street brawling now.
Yeah, I went into crazy mode a
which
little
is
bit.
which is when you're susceptible. Right?
Yeah, when you're susceptible, and I did win a lot of fans in that fight. Just from I was surprised about it. I got done, and my social medias are blowing up about people being like, I'm a fan for life, like whatever. People relate to that. They like to see that, and I've always had that in me. That's what I go to, like this almost fight or flight, and I'll go, just all the way fight, But in the zoo fight, me and my dad actually have had a long conversation about that.
See, this is the good shit that no one knows about.
Yeah,
right?
we had a long conversation, and he was just talking about, it was actually a really interesting conversation, because I was like, Dad, where was your mind at when you threw the towel in? Because it was really eating me that the towel got thrown in when it did. Not that it was necessarily the wrong call, because what people got to understand is he's seeing the fight for the first time. He doesn't get to, have an instant replay to decide.
Right.
He's trying to make a call in the moment. One of the things is that my dad was, I told my dad the night before that I wasn't feeling the best. But the day of, I manufactured this ultimate confidence, even though it was the opposite of what I was feeling.
So now we're talking about in the locker room getting taped up.
I'm just putting on. I'm like, look, man, there's nowhere to go now. I gotta fake this. I gotta get myself into the mode that I need to be in. So my dad is not really thinking of the night before as being something that is ultra concerning. And he had seen our training and our preparation and how good I was and how mentally strong I had been. So he took that as just pre-fight jitters the night before. Like, it's just pre-fight jitters, but he came through it, and now he's ready to rock.
Because you put on the mask.
Because I put on the mask and didn't say anything to anyone, because I was like, I don't have time to dive into this.
No, hell no. You just
I was like, I don't have time to do a therapy session here. So I was just trying to keep everybody, I wanted everyone around me positive. I wanted to be positive to take that into the locker room before the fight. So my dad's point is when he, I don't even remember this stuff, but in the round before it got stopped, my dad was like, what are you doing?
You guys kind of got in a
he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm not right. I'm not okay. But I did say, I'm going to catch him though. I'm going to catch him. Like, I think I'm going to catch him. And so I went out there kind of prematurely and was like just going for the knockout almost. Right. Got myself, left myself susceptible, took a body shot. What people don't know about the liver, when you get hit to the liver, it freezes your body up. So I was frozen, taking shots. I should have taken a knee at that point, and I would have continued to fight. But since I didn't take a knee, and in my mind I'm just thinking, don't go down, don't go down. Right. My dad, the last thing he heard was me saying I'm not okay. Right. But it's not like I don't have 5 minutes to explain to him what I mean. So he's thinking, am I injured?
Right.
Am I, and am I just a sitting duck out there? Well, he doesn't know what that means, right? So we just talked about that, and him saying like, I was thinking you might be out there not able to throw punches. You might not be able, your hand might be broke. He's like, I didn't know. So in that moment, I emotionally was like, I got to protect him. I got to get him out of this. Yeah. And so one thing that we really came to at the end was just like, first of all, a protocol for the future. Yep. About what to do in that scenario. Because
these are the learning moments, right? And I relate this back to business, like, and life.
100%.
Like, okay, well, I can blame him, he can blame me, or we can have a conversation about it, figure it out, and then put a protocol in place moving forward.
Yeah, and the other thing was communication. Because in that moment, if I would have been sharing, he was like, "Look, man, the other thing is we're bringing I have a really, really good sports psychologist that I've talked to in the past that I didn't talk to this last camp because I felt so amazing. I didn't feel a need to.
Yeah, why do it if you're
But for now on, for any big fight, I'm going to have her, or if she's not available, someone else there that their job throughout the whole camp is my mind, right? Because in that moment, I felt like I couldn't speak, I couldn't talk, I didn't have time. So I'm going to have somebody there with me that specializes in this, that's got experience, that we can, that I've built a rapport with, that's their job. When it comes down to it, if that happens again, it's like everybody out. It's time for me to attack this right now. Yeah. Instead of just getting in the ring trying to hide it, from my closest team. So communication, sharing with my dad where I'm at, because like we talked about, sometimes he expected me to dominate that fight. I expected to dominate that fight. That's all we talked about was dominating that fight. All of a sudden, I'm not dominating that fight, right? All of a sudden, I'm telling him I'm not okay in the corner because he's asking me what is wrong.
What's wrong? Yeah.
So he talks about the fact that, and I talk to him like, look, man, sometimes I'm going to get in there and that's going to be the way it goes and I've got to win. Even in the fight in Flint, I didn't know anything about that opponent. You know, all of a sudden I'm in a dogfight in Flint.
Yeah.
And I came through it and I won the fight. That was one of my favorite fights because it
remember
was
you
a
talking
freaking
about
battle.
that. Yeah,
you know,
I
it was a
remember
battle. I came through it and I won, and it was surprising. I felt like I mentally pulled it together and fought and won the fight. And I told him, I said, we were expecting to dominate, but I didn't. But I could have still won that fight.
Yeah.
We don't know what could have happened
Right.
if we got to that. So just the what ate me, we talk about this, part of what hurt. If I would have went through that fight, in the Ramos fight, the reason that one hurt worse is because it was almost like the worst possible outcome. And Ramos, like I showed my heart. So at least I showed my heart. I got something from it.
Yeah.
I got to feel something. Like I know I would have went the distance in that fight.
I lost, but I never gave up.
Yeah, I never gave up.
Yeah.
I fought to the bitter end, and I fought an opponent who outweighed me by however many pounds.
Yeah.
And I came through it. I'm stronger now because of it.
I saw on social media, because I said I couldn't see the fight, so I'm just refreshing Twitter every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking about how big Ramos was.
100%.
All of
it was
these
shocking.
things.
Those
Yeah.
are surprising things. I didn't
Yeah.
expect him to be bigger. But anyway, speaking of which, just my dad and I coming to that point where it's like he was shocked. So because it was not going the way that we both expected it to, it was almost like, we got to, it's not going to happen.
Throw in the towel.
But in reality, it's like sometimes it's going to happen that way. So we were able to come up with like a really solid, game plan going forward. Because one of the things I told him was like, I can't have that happen again.
Right.
Like because losing is one thing, but the way, my wife, when I got done with the fight, she was just like, I'm just thankful that your dad's in the corner. I'm just thankful that you have someone to throw the towel in, and that's someone that cares about you. But then 2 months later, she's like, we're having these conversations. She sees where I'm at in the pits of just pure, gosh, man, like just rough. She's like, now I understand. If you die in there, at least you die. Because she would never say that. She wants to be good. You got pulled out of there. You got pulled out of there. When it started to get rough. But then she was like, you don't have much left after. You know what I mean? You don't win. The way that affects a fighter with spirit, I'd rather be a warrior than be a winner. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the fact that I wasn't able to show in that fight, if I came out of that fight, less of myself, but I lost the fight, but I was able to take something with me for the rest of my life. That one I felt like I lost it all.
Yeah, like
what I mean? Like it just was a failure.
I remember specifically because Jen and I were on the couch, Dalia was sitting there, and I'm up, and I think it's interesting, right? I don't want to say your dad, because anybody in his position, the trainer, they see your back and your butt most of the time when you leave the corner.
100%.
The camera sees your face, right? And so I knew that you were okay. So when he threw the towel, I'm like, no. I'm like jumping up and down,
Yeah.
But they don't see that perspective. And they got to make a choice. And then you bring in these things of the conversation that you have, and then it doesn't go well again right away. And it's
Right. Because we're not expecting that.
Yeah.
It was almost so good that was where the camp was so good that when it was that bad in the fight, it was just
amplified
like,
it even more.
amplified it, right? Like something is seriously wrong. And then what I said to him, he's like, something's seriously wrong here, and he doesn't know what's in my head.
All right,
he
let's
didn't
talk
know
about it's going to amplify.
Yeah. So after but then that's why I go back, because that's in that training, in that whatever, figuring out what
all I
I'm
know
do.
is what's this dude's name? Howard?
Yeah.
This poor dude.
It's a bad deal. It's a bad deal for him. But, we're ready. I'm ready. I'm strong. I'm conditioned. I'm feeling good. So one of the things that we decided was I've got to make the necessary changes to come down in weight. 147 is where I need to be. Why did I fight at 54?
Well, no, why did you fight that change?
Because I had gotten after the Ramos fight, we had kind of considered it, but we were like, man, like, it's really hard. You don't know. So it's always been hard for me to make 54. But through 20 fights, it got to the point where over the 3 fights after Ramos, one by one, it got easier to make weight.
Got it.
In this last fight, it was so, and those fights weren't even at 54. They were at 60 and 58.
So you better get on those icon meals, bro.
Yeah. The ones you told me about for sure. It got so easy for me when I made this 54 against Tszyu. Tszyu was talking about writing a book about the weight cut itself, how hard it was, right? Like he was like dying. And then he came into the ring like looking like a superhero. My weight cut was so easy. It was like, walking in the park. Like I was like, this is freaking easy. So then when I went into the fight, felt like I was outgunned a little bit, felt like I was undersized. Not that I couldn't have won the fight. It's just that I'm tired of feeling like I am disadvantaged size-wise a little bit. And Tszyu is not a big 154-pounder, but he was bigger than me.
Yeah.
And he's one of the smaller guys at the weight. So being that he was bigger than me, I realized that everyone I go in there with is going to have a size advantage.
Yeah.
And I knew I could make 47 if I did it right and I dedicated myself to my diet fully. So not that I hadn't before, it's hard.
I was going to say, I've been out with you in the field at noon shooting videos and you pull out a piece of salmon out of your pocket. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not that I don't. At 54, I had to make weight during the fight camps, but this is more of a full-on lifestyle change.
Yeah.
I've been cutting weight since the Tszyu fight. Not cutting it, but just you're always tracking. You're always, to be at 40, to get to that, it's going to be a lifestyle change for the next 5 years of tracking nonstop, all the time. So I made that decision and started coming down, and that's what this fight is all about. Is I'm making 151, and then in my next fight I'll be at 47. We didn't want to come into an elite fight at 47 all at once.
Right.
We wanted to have the opportunity to come down to 54 to 47 in two parts. So that's what this fight's about. It's called a catch weight. It's at a catch weight of 51. I'm on track to make that weight. And that's what this fight's all about. And it's a comeback fight. My plan is to go out there and feel myself after the bigger weight cut, because I will have more water weight to lose than I have before. And that's kind of part of what this move to 47 is partly about, is that I'll have a few more pounds to lose on the night before.
Yeah.
Which I think is doable and good, and will be fine, and I feel like I'll perform after it. But we just want to be able to come in and feel it before we go into an elite fight. So.
And also exciting, your brother McKellar is going to fight again.
Brother McKellar's fighting on it.
Yeah.
And he's excited. He's looking sharp. We've actually been sparring a lot for the first time this camp. Full-fledged. This is the first time we sparred full-fledged, so I'm actually enjoying that a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Just, he's kind of grown up a little bit. He's 21, so for the majority of my career, he's still been kind of in his teenage years, and
and he's light, right? So what does he fight at?
He's light, but in this camp, he's fighting at 45. So he's walking around at 55 right now. I'm walking around at 65.
Yeah.
Normally, I've had more of like a 20-pound weight on him, so it's not like you can really spar 10 pounds. And then with his height and things like that, like it's okay. We can go in there and spar now. And he's so sharp and so talented. It's been like awesome sparring. Like I've enjoyed it like crazy.
Awesome.
I feel like it's made me better. Like I'm getting better and
he
working.
He goes southpaw a lot.
And
too,
he's southpaw
right?
a lot. So it's just such good work.
Yeah.
And I'm just like always been waiting for him to kind of get older and get bigger so that we can fully do that. And it's been great. It's really been great. So that's been awesome. Training camp has been great. It's been an unconventional one to a certain degree, because this fight kind of sprung up on us. But it's been actually one of my best ones.
Yeah.
So, I feel amazing.
So you also have something you just released as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I'm doing my first combat self-defense seminar on September 20th. That's 2 weeks after my fight. I'm really excited about that. It's something that I thought up a long time ago. I'm really passionate about combat training.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a training junkie when it comes to anything combat related. Do a lot of shooting with former military. I do a lot of jiu-jitsu. It's something that became a passion of mine around the time that I was 19. And boxing, of course, has always been a passion. And I realized that one of the people that I work with says fighting is fighting is fighting. So like all the training, when you train multiple disciplines, you realize that they all kind of have the same, not the same thing. They're very different, but they have the same outlook as far as training goes. So I realized that like I have a knack for combat sports because I've been doing this form of combat since I was a little kid. So I love it. I want to share it with people. I think that it's important for people to be equipped and it's not that you're going to become equipped in one day, but we want to give you like an immersive experience throughout the day so that you can find out if you love it as much as I do, which it's very contagious. It's very exciting.
And it's a tremendous workout. And truly to have the ability to defend yourself, especially in today's world.
We brought in one of the instructors is certified in knife defense, and he's going to come in and he's going to teach how to defend yourself against a knife. I've done that training. There's a lot of BS out there. There's a lot of just nonsense that I would never teach. I would never, I would never bring into one of my seminars for people to learn, because in reality, you're just going to put yourself in more harm's way if that ever happens, if you ever were in a life and death situation. But the way that this guy brings in the very practical measures that you can take if you ever are in that type of life and death scenario. And I've trained it, I've learned it, I've began learning it myself, and he uses the real martial arts, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing, and running and getting away from the situation.
That's always a good idea.
Especially if you're in life and death. And he puts those things together in a practical way. And then we've got elite instructors coming in. That's what I loved about it. And that's what the experience is all about, is like, come in. This is for people who love to train. They're going to find, they know where to find places to train, and they know what they already like to do. This is for the people that is the father, the businessman, the worker that has never trained before, doesn't know how to use his hands or his body to defend himself, but wants to learn in a beginner-friendly environment. And learn from elite instructors. So my jiu-jitsu guy I'm bringing in is several-time world champion jiu-jitsu. MMA, he fought on the UFC Contender Show. He comes from the original Atos Brazilian jiu-jitsu team. In Brazil, he's Brazilian. It's as the pedigree of his jiu-jitsu is as good as it gets. It's as solid as it gets. Which is, if you don't know, when it comes to jiu-jitsu, there's jiu-jitsu on every corner now. So the pedigree of jiu-jitsu, it's not that people aren't learning real jiu-jitsu. It's not that. It's just that, like, there is a difference in pedigree, in lineage from the actual true original Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belts that started it all. Yeah. So he's one of those.
His great granddaddy taught him.
Exactly. He's one of those people. He came from there. He came from the original teams, training in the basement, you know what I mean? Before it was mainstream, before it came to it. So it's
a way of life.
It's a way of life. Me, of course, myself, professional boxer, people in this area know me.
Well, and this is a dream that you have, beyond your career in 100%, boxing, right?
Is teaching, and I thought that it was cool to bring this in. And then you've got, Peter at the end, who comes in with the weapons defense, something that's so important. Especially nowadays. I heard there was just a mass knifing here in this area, or maybe not in this area. My wife was telling me about it. I don't know, but knife violence is becoming.
It was in Traverse City.
Yeah. What knife violence is becoming huge, and then it's really something that people need to know how to defend against.
Right.
So it's not about becoming perfect at these things in one day. It's about giving you the introduction in a fun environment. Yeah. We're gonna have lunch at midday. It's not gonna be like you're dead tired at the end of it. It's a learning experience. It's not that you're not gonna be active. You're gonna be in there learning these techniques and saying, you know what, I want to get out of this, and I want to sign up for a boxing gym. I want to sign up for a jiu-jitsu gym. I want to sign up for, shooting classes or whatever it is. It's just a really positive thing. So I'm really excited about it. Full armor combat is what we're calling it.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool, and I love that it's so well rounded. Like people can choose what they want to do.
100%.
Talk to us about, I think about often our relationship when we first met and walking into your house, and Joey and his family had already moved to California. Your dad reached out to me to sell that home. It was on Byram Lake, and I remember going there. And nobody was there. You guys were already all gone. It gives me goosebumps right now. And I go in and I'm like, I was very captivated emotionally. I called my wife. I'm like, hey, and she doesn't know who's who, right? I said, I'm at this home. It's Joey Spencer's parents' home. And like, I could feel the Holy Spirit in your house. And that's really what drew me to, when the phone rang, said, hey, do you want to sponsor Joey? It was like, well, we had already been obviously selling your dad's home, but it was instant when he's like, do you want to sponsor Joey? I'm like, yeah, heck yeah. Tell me about your family environment, right? Growing up, and even to this day, you guys are very, very close. You all have this relationship rooted in Jesus. Tell us about that. Because for me, I didn't come to a relationship with Jesus till I was, in my 40s.
Yeah. Yeah, it's our family is tight knit. That's for sure. Me and my dad are, we're not just father son. We're partners. We always say like we're partners. Yeah. Business, work. Like we just work together on such a deep level because we've been doing it since when I was 16. When you sold that house, we went out to California, and that was kind of because we had the opportunity. My dad saw that I had a real opportunity to follow my dream, right? So,
and some people don't know. Tell us about your boxing career prior to going pro.
Yeah,
right?
I was 9-time national champ. USA world traveling team as an amateur. Fought all over the country in different parts of the world.
I mean, put it this way: they had a boxing ring in the garage.
Yeah, for sure. Boxing was my life. Yeah. Boxing was our life, and people actually thought like people would make comments. My dad and I would wake up before I'd go to school, and I would run. He'd follow me in the truck. 5 a.m.
Some real Rocky shit.
Yeah, people would make comments like, "Man, he needs to ease up on that boy." He was helping me follow the dream that I had. You know what I mean? That's what's so interesting about it. Yeah.
This is important, right? Because today's society, like Dahlia, right? Dahlia's in competitive dance. She is at that dance joint. I mean, during the school year, gets out of school at 3:30, immediately to dance, eats on the way there, and is there.
And that was my life too.
Yeah, and is there until 9:30.
Doing my homework in the car on the way we would get done with school, go 2 hours on a trip to Port Huron to spar. And I'm doing my homework in the way, eating my lunch, whatever, and then the way home, and then tomorrow starts again. And that's the way it was. But that was his sacrifice because he said, this is what my son wants to do.
Then I'm going to do
and
it.
we get to do it, and we get to do it
Yep.
together. So, I was thinking about this the other day because my grandfather just passed, and he was one of the.
Sorry, my
so
condolences.
yeah, and I appreciate it, brother. And one of the things that brought up to me when that was all going down, when he was passing, was. Something I'll take with me to the day I die. When I die, I'll think about, this is one of the things I'll think about, was those truck rides, because that was years of my childhood in elementary and in middle school, is those rides to those sparring sessions that we would take together. My dad and I, and a lot of times my grandpa, we would, that was just like huge for me.
Yeah.
It was huge for me. Well, I enjoyed every minute, like me and my dad, like spent so much time together. So one of the things I told him, I reached out to him after this last one, because it gets so hard sometimes. And then my dad can kind of almost feel like, man, I should have encouraged him to do something else. I should have encouraged him to go to school. I should have encouraged him to do this or that. And I reached out to him. I was like, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
We've done all of this, hard times, good times, like the amount of time that I've gotten to spend with my parents and my family through this.
Just even going to Australia for that whole time.
I'm finally getting to start to feel the joy in that.
Yeah.
Because it was so hard. I didn't want to think about Australia, afterward.
Like, what?
But I'm just like, I look at pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a life. Yeah. You know what I mean? What a
Those
life.
are the moments you'll be able to look back in 30, 40, 50 years and
100%.
Really, find.
What a life to live with my family.
Yeah.
So that's just huge. We've always been like that. And he helped me get there. My dad made the sacrifices necessary to help me get to this point. One of the other things I said, because it was emotional after the fight. It was something, me and him took a road trip to a sponsor event in Wisconsin.
You went to Ponzi, right?
Ponzi, yeah. They do a party every year.
Shout out to Ponzi. They've been a huge supporter of
Yeah,
yours.
absolutely. They did.
I'm always jealous that their logo's bigger than ours, but they probably pay more.
They have a sponsor event.
They do.
No comment. No, they have a sponsor. They have an event every year in Wisconsin. So we were on that road trip. I ended up falling right after the fight. We went on that road trip, and it was emotional after the fight, because what I just shared is he's like, did I point you wrong? And I was like, I spend all my time with my children. That's the most important thing in the world to me. There's nothing more important to me than my kids and my wife and being able to spend that time. And we have like a life out of because that's the most important thing to me. Like, I couldn't be happier, even in my hardest times. I couldn't be happier. That's what gets me through. And I live that life. I support my family through this boxing.
Sure.
I mean, what a blessing.
And some salsa coming.
And salsa. Salsa is pretty successful. But no, like I support my family through this. And what a journey and what a blessing.
Yeah.
I look up every day and I'm like, oh my gosh, the things my kids get to my kids get to experience, the things my kids get to have. They get to just enjoy their lives so much. They get to have their my wife is stay at home. I owe that to my dad. That's all there is to it. You know what I mean? So I had to reassure him of that, and I think that was big for him. Is that reminder? Like, doesn't matter what happens, because I know that I'm living the dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I get to be with my kids.
Tell us about. I want to share this again because I think about these little moments. I remember when your mom called me and said, "Hey, we want to invite you to Joey's wedding."
Yeah.
Right. And I was standing in the ice rink. Rocco was playing hockey. I'm freezing my butt off, and I'm like, "Oh my God, that's so awesome!" I was so flattered. When is it? This weekend. Right.
Yeah. You always remind me of that, and I always forget how crazy that was. Like it was so quick.
But Tabitha.
Yeah, man.
Tell us about Tabitha. Because behind every man, having a woman like this is so powerful, and it's one of the most important choices that man and woman will make. Rocco. Hopefully, Rocco's not getting married this weekend. Christian's getting married this weekend.
That's amazing.
Right? My 25-year-old, and
congrats.
a wonderful woman with a wonderful family. It's absolutely beautiful. But that's such an important decision, and so especially for somebody like for me, as hard as I go for years nonstop, I have to have full support from my wife. Yeah. Same for you.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us about that.
Man, I look at your story and the way that you praise your wife, and I relate to that. And not a lot. Some people don't have that. Some people don't feel that way. I think every married person can if they. I think that every marriage has potential to get to that point. So I'm not saying that, but like what you said about choosing that person is such a huge, weighty decision, right? But what I chose with Tab is I always say, I would not be who I am. Everything we talked about the boxing, that's so true. It's those losses made me stronger. I would not be in any position to be doing anything that I'm doing right now. I wouldn't be sitting here with you right now if it wasn't for Tab. She changed my whole life. Yeah. And that's what a good woman does. Yeah. Brother. God changed my life through giving me her.
Yes.
That's all there is to it. And,
I have it in my phone when my wife calls me. It says, obviously it has a picture of her and it says, my angel delivered from the Lord above.
There it is right there. And people don't know about me. I was a hellion before I got married. Me and Tab started dating when we were in 6th grade.
I don't think it's called dating, bro. In 6th grade.
Yeah, whatever it was. We became close at that age. We sat next to each other on the first day of 6th grade because our names it was assigned seating. Yeah. So we sat we were assigned to sit next to each other, and that was the beginning. And we weren't together, dating the whole time, but we were close the whole time, all throughout. And then we started dating again at 16. And then because I was a very stupid person, we ended up breaking up when we were around 18. And then my life changed because I realized that, I was throwing my life almost away because of a lot of the same things that we're talking about now. Just the pressure just was so immense. It was almost like I was self-sabotaging because I wanted it to be over. It was I'll just be a bum. And at this time, that's when I'm undefeated as a boxer, getting a lot of attention on national TV.
He's 14-0 talking about I'm
a bum. Yeah. And I'm just but I wanted to be a bum because I was like, I don't want to deal with this
because
anymore.
The expectations
are so high.
That high for that long is very difficult.
It's especially as a kid. And I turned pro when I was 17, right? So I haven't fully grown up yet, but I'm having to grow up. And it wasn't the reason why I chose to be with to turn my life around, but I had to turn my life around to be able to be with a woman of Tabitha's level.
She demanded more.
Yeah. She's not gonna put up with nonsense, but she loves me unconditionally at the same time. But it's I knew she is too high quality of a person to deal with the level of quality that I was bringing.
You were putting out.
Right?
Yeah.
So for that reason, and obviously my relationship with God. But a lot of what pushed me to that was I was at a crossroads, and I said, I'm going to lose this girl forever, and I'm going to wonder who she's married to in 15, 20 years, and that's not an option.
Yeah.
So you got to fight and claw to become a better person. And it's not that I became a better person, but me showing her I was trying, that's all it took. That's what I mean by the unconditional love. It wasn't, you need to be this and this and this to be with me. It's, are you on track to becoming the man that God wants you to be? Because she's a strong Christian, and she, she got saved late. When she was 16, she came to the Lord, but she was serious about it. She was serious, and she was like, I want my kids, and I want my husband, I want our relationship to be centered around God. Are you working toward that? That's really the only qualification it was. Right. And thankfully I made the right decision. I think about it and thank the Lord every day that I made the right decision, because I think about the crossroads I was at. A lot of people lose that person at that crossroads. Yeah. A lot of people,
and usually for selfish reasons, right? Like
selfish reasons, partying, other, sin relationships, stupid relationships, toxic relationships. They'll choose the wrong path. I don't take credit for it. I give all the credit to Tab was such an amazing person and girl that I just knew I can't
lose it.
I can't lose it. Yeah. It's not an option. And because of that decision, I'm where I'm at today. Yeah. That's all there is to it. Yeah. And now I'm a father that I want to be every day. And I'm not that I'm perfect father, but I'm the father I want to be. I know that. And I'm able to offer that. And I'm the husband, not perfect, but I'm the husband that I try to be the husband that I want to be every day. And she gives me the strength to do it.
A word that comes to my mind with that is surrender.
Yeah, man. 100%.
Even as a professional boxer, man, you got to surrender.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's her, man. She's the rock of my life, and she's just a powerful person. Like,
she's got a great soul. I mean, you could tell
she's just got a soul
she's
got a soul of just gold, I can't even describe it. And she's someone that her whole life she just raises her calling is to raise her kids.
Yeah, amen.
That's her calling. She doesn't need Instagram followers. She doesn't need status.
You don't either. I mean,
no, I don't want it. I kind of have to have it, but I'm in the driver's seat. I'm in the spotlight, and she doesn't want anything to do with it.
Right.
And that's beautiful to me, because every day it's like when we talk about
her purpose is very clear.
Her purpose is clear.
Yeah.
And that's to be a wife to me and a parent to them. And like people would say, like, that's like, she laughs at the thought of that message out there that's an underachiever. She laughs at that. You know what I mean? We talk about it all the time.
That's an overachiever.
Yeah, that's an overachiever. Our kids are thriving. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Our kids are beautiful and smart, and she does not cut corners with our children for her own benefit. Even in ways that I would say you need to do, she does not cut.
That's one thing with Jen, right? Is like somebody was kind of giving her heck because she said no to doing something, right?
You need to live your own. You need to live for yourself.
You need to do this, do that.
Put yourself first. You
don't even go out anymore, right?
Exactly.
And Jen says, what did she say? Oh, she goes, I have the opposite of FOMO.
Yeah, you told me that.
She goes, I have I have JOMO. And the lady's like, what's that? She goes, joy of missing out.
That's
because
right,
I'm
man.
choosing my family.
That's right.
Over that.
That's it, man. 100%. So can't say enough about her.
Yeah, I love it.
That's it, man.
Well, brother, it's been a pleasure having you, man. I love you dearly. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you, brother.
I'm proud of you,
Thank you,
I'm happy for you. I'm excited for the fight in Escanaba. That's going to be dope.
Yeah, man.
More importantly, I'm just excited to continue to watch your journey because,
brother.
in my feed, in my memories, I'll have photos of you when you were friggin' a child still.
Yeah.
And now here you are, a man, sitting before me.
Thank you, brother.
And very proud of you. Proud to be your friend. Proud to be a sponsor from day one.
Appreciate the impact that you've had on my life, man. You've had a big one. So you're one of those people that I point to. When I got done with the last fight, Tab was like, I think you need to talk to John. I think he could really relate to you on this. I think he can really, just people who, It's hard, man. Sometimes it's like not in any better way or whatever, but you're just on a different, the things you're doing and the things you're dealing with, the things you're chasing might not be what one of your best friends is chasing or dealing with. You know what I mean? It might not be. But so having people in your life that are going, you know, through the highs and lows of big things.
So important.
Yeah, you're one of those people for me, so I appreciate you, buddy.
Well, I love you, brother, man. Thank you.
I'll be okay. I'll be okay.